Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single MCU hero from worst to best. I've got 80 different heroes that we're going to be talking about today, all the way back from 2008 right up to 2025 with the Fantastic Four. Which ones are the best, which ones are the worst? That's what I want to dive into here today. But before we get into this video, I just want to say one thing. Please be sure to drop a like, and also, more importantly, subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I'm always talking about movie shows and everything in between, especially comic book stuff. And beyond that, I actually just posted an MCU ranking, so be sure to check that out after this, talking about the different movies. But listen, you might be thinking, Ty, really quick before we get into this video, why are you making this video in the middle of January? It's such a random time to be making this. Well, this is the thing. I am starting a new series called MCU in Review, where I am going to be rewatching the entire MCU and formulating sort of like an unbiased new opinion on it, and I'm going to be placing one video, or making, I should say, one video for each project in the entire MCU. It's going to last this entire year leading up to Avengers Doomsday. So if you want to see every single MCU project re-reviewed and ranked again in a fresh way, be sure to stick around and subscribe. But listen, guys, no more self-promo for me. But again, this is, this character list here is kind of meant to just see what my opinion is before and what my opinion is after, when we probably remake this video at the end of the year after I rewatch the entire MCU. So I say we just kick things off here by taking a look at this list. So as you guys can see, we've got 6 different tiers on here: the best, great, good, fine, not good, and the worst. And like I said, 80 different MCU heroes. Honestly, I could have forced 100 or more, but at a certain point, I kind of just had to draw the line, and I feel like this is everyone that's somewhat realistically relevant to the MCU, and that are also, like, genuinely heroes and have had some type of impact, whether their screen time is across multiple movies or even just, like, one 20-minute scene. So, yeah, 80 was the final count. Everybody fine and above, I would say I could definitely have a good time with, but not good and the worst are characters that I truly believe are bad, negative, poorly written characters. So keep that in your mind, I guess you could say. But fine doesn't mean that, like, I hate them or anything. I could definitely have a good time with them. It's just that they're not really good, great, or the best characters in the MCU. I say we just kick things off here, and again, 80 different characters. This is going to take a very long time, so if you guys appreciate the effort, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe. But listen, let's just kick things off here with a newer character, a 2025 character. It's going to be Bob, aka Sentry. I think I'm going to put Bob in good right off the bat. We're going to kick things off positive here. I think he was a ton of fun and really added this different side to Thunderbolts that I really liked, because obviously Thunderbolts is focusing on, like, depression and, kind of like grief and all that, but I like the fact that obviously the Void part of him is super negative, but Bob is actually like this lighthearted angle to this movie. Because again, everyone in this film has like their own struggles, but he seems to be kind of like uplifting the group. He kind of has like this whimsical nature to him, and I think that Lewis Pullman had a really great performance. He was very fun, and I think that he can only move up from here once I see him in Avengers Doomsday. Next up is going to be Monica Rambeau. I think she's fine. She's never really, like, moved the needle for me. I don't think there's anything she's really done that has wowed me. But, she has been in 2 or 3 projects. I think she was in, not Captain Marvel as well. But then she's also in WandaVision, and then on top of that, she's in, of course, the Marvels. I think she's at her best in maybe WandaVision or the Marvels, but either way, I don't have that much to say about her, because I don't really know if she has, like, some defining moment. I guess maybe at the end of the Marvels when she sacrifices herself or whatever. I don't know if she's, like, if binary is there or whatever. I don't know what's going on there, but realistically, she's never really done anything that crazy. I don't really find her that interesting or funny. I like her dynamic with the Marvel girls, like the trio there, but I can't really, like, put her any higher realistically. Next up is going to be Man-Thing. This is one of these, like, weird characters that I almost forgot existed. He's going to be going in fine. I think he was a very interesting, kind of silly but scary type of character. Sort of like one of these, I don't want to say, like, Groot type of characters, but, doesn't really talk but also has a large impact. Werewolf by Night's one of these projects that I thought was really cool, but admittedly, haven't really put a lot of thought into it. I almost, like, forgot it even existed. I think he's fine, though. I mean, realistically, I think he deserves to be, like, higher, but just didn't really do much for me and just is not very memorable. And I feel like if you're not memorable, why would I really put you any higher than this? But again, anybody in fine and above, I can have a great time with while I'm watching them. But, obviously some characters are going to be just naturally lower. This is going to be Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is a character that hasn't really been put in the greatest of projects. I think her projects have been, like, fine at best, but I think she's great on her own. First of all, you've got Iman Vellani in the role. Her charisma, her charm, her sense of wonder, her energy it's just so easy to gravitate towards her. I think that once we see her, hopefully in like Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars, whenever we see her next, I think that's really going to be the project where she's able to shine, but I don't think that she's been put in the right project yet. I think a good example of that is something like Yelena, where Yelena was put in Black Widow. It wasn't really the best project in the world. Then she was just sprinkled in Hawkeye. But then Thunderbolt, she really got to stand out. And that was the project that really propelled her forward. And when we all saw the potential in Black Widow, kind of reminds me of Miss Marvel as well. I think that we're going to see her potential filled out soon, but just not yet. But I still think she's great, and I think she deserves to be up here. Next up is going to be Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards. This is going to be a hot take. And by the way, I'm not going to be ranking people like across the rows. I'm just going to be putting them in the rows, but this doesn't mean that Monica Rambeau is better than Man-Thing or Man-Thing is worse than her. I'm just going to be putting them at the end, and that's that. I think Reed Richards is fine. I know that it's kind of a hot take. Listen, I was never a fan of the Pedro Pascal casting. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, but I went into the movie, even though I didn't really like the casting, open-minded. I said, you know what, Pedro? I'm going to give you a shot here, completely free of bias. And I just didn't really gravitate towards his character. I did not really think that he gave a great performance. But from there, I don't really know if they gave him enough to do in this movie. Like, yes, he's the protector, but I could never really believe that he was like the smartest man in the world. I mean, yes, he does a lot of intelligent things, but I don't know if he was charming enough or even cool enough, if that makes sense. And this isn't really his fault either, like Pedro Pascal or really the characters, but he really didn't get to use his stretching powers in the Fantastic Four movie, which kind of blew my mind. Like, it was almost like one of these things where it was like hidden until the end of the movie practically. But I mean, I think he's an okay character, but I can't really say much more than that. And again, just my personal opinion. I'm trying to rank this both objectively and also based off my own opinion. So how much I like the characters versus how good I actually think they are. Kind of somewhere in the middle of that. Next up is going to be Echo. Echo, I'm going to put in not good. I don't think Echo is really the worst character in the world. I just think that she's been given the short end of the stick. And I think that if you just gave me Hawkeye, I would have put her in like fine. I thought she was kind of like an enjoyable little side character, kind of had like her own backstory. But the Echo show, I almost feel like unfairly dragged her down because that show was just not good. And when you're the central character of the show, it's kind of going to hurt how everyone views you and everyone's perspective on you. I think that she was okay in her own show, but again, kind of just given the short end of the stick, and I think that if for some reason she popped up again, maybe in like Daredevil season 3 or something, maybe we could give her a shot to actually do something and be a side character and lift her up, because I think there's legitimate potential. I think that, I believe her name's like Alanqua Cox. I think she's a pretty good actress, and the whole like deaf angle with her, I think that was really unique, kind of like Daredevil also, but I just think it's one of those things where she was just given the short end of the stick. She was kind of treated unfairly, and I'm not going to put her in the worst because I don't think she's like a bad character, but she's just not a good one. I can't even say she's fine. Next is going to be Moon Knight. This is a tough one for me. I'm going to put Moon Knight in good. I know that people have problems with the show. I want to admit, again, and that's the whole reason that I'm doing this MCU interview series, I have not watched this show since it came out nearly 4 years ago, which is kind of insane. I know that I always claim to be like a diehard MCU fan, but haven't seen the show literally since it came out because I just don't really watch the MCU shows. I remember that I did have some problems with the story, like when Moon Knight would just black out and then he wakes up and the problem was resolved, especially because we never got a season 2 to like follow up what was going on with that with like his third personality. But I think Moon Knight as a character was very interesting, and Oscar Isaac just gives this really crazy performance where he's playing he's almost playing like 4 different characters because he's playing obviously like a Moon Knight and then his like, person, and then he's also playing like the Mr. Knight character and then his person. Honestly, I'm forgetting their names at the moment, but it's just because I'm blanking while I'm recording. But I thought Moon Knight is a pretty good character. I think there's a lot of potential with him going forward, but is he ever going to return? Who knows? It's been 4 years and we haven't seen him, so seems kind of like a lost cause. Next up is going to be Sylvie. Sylvie's going in great, man. I think that Sylvie is just an awesome, very much above average type of character. I think Loki's one of the best MCU shows. Actually, it's probably the best MCU show in my opinion, and that's not just because of Loki himself, because Tom Hiddleston obviously is one of just the best characters in the MCU, but Sylvie was able to play off of him so well, especially because she technically is him. She's like a variant of him. I loved their banter and like their unique relationship and the way that sometimes they'd work together and sometimes they would butt heads. She could be funny at times. I also think an underrated part of Sylvie, even though it's not like the biggest deal in the world, is the casting. I feel like Sophie DiMartino, I want to say is her name, or Sophie Martino, it's one of those two, is just really great in this role because she's able to kind of be like witty, but also funny, and sometimes have like more of a somber tone. I think she's such a great character, seriously. Next up is going to be Sprite. Truly one of the worst characters in the MCU, if not the worst. I have not watched The Eternals since it came out, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it in this series to see if my opinions changed, but Sprite, all I remember about Sprite is that she basically just did nothing but bad things the entire movie, betrayed her friends, backstabbed them, and then in the end, ended up getting what she wanted. And I think that's just so ridiculous, insufferable. I hate this character, and I only watched this movie one time, and I still hated this character. Next up is going to be Phastos. We're basically like 1 out of every 8 characters on this list is an Eternal because I had to kind of include all of them because they're basically like main characters. Even though I think the movie sucks, and I haven't seen the movie in literally like 5 years practically, Phastos is just going to go under not good. This character did absolutely nothing for me. I can't really say much about him. Next up is going to be Cersei. I think she's going to be like one of the best Eternal characters. I think she's fine. I think that Gemma Chan, even though this is technically her second MCU role, because she was also in Captain Marvel as like an alien, I don't really remember that much about her, but I remember that her having sort of like this maternal-like personality. She was very humble. She was very down-to-earth, which I really liked, which is ironic because she's not down-to-earth. She's basically like an alien. Icarus, I'll put him in fine too. I mean, where do you want to put Icarus, man? It's just one of these things where I like Richard Madden. I think he's a talented actor, but wasn't given the proper source material. I think that his sacrifice at the end was cool. His powers are very awesome. He's kind of like the Superman of the MCU in a way, but he wasn't really fleshed out. Didn't really find them to be all that crazy, which doesn't really make sense because Chloe Zhao is just such a great director and such a critically acclaimed director. I don't know what went wrong here. Next, that's going to be She-Hulk. I don't mean to pile on. Like, I don't mean this in just some horrible way. But she really is one of the worst characters in the MCU, if I'm just being realistic. Again, I don't mean to pile on. I'm not trying to be like, oh, you know, she's like a feminist or whatever. Like, no, I think that's really stupid, like a stupid angle. But I just truly believe she's one of the worst written characters in the MCU. I think that Tatiana Maslany is trying her best with this character. I think she was cast pretty well. But first of all, this is sort of out of, her control, but the CGI in She-Hulk just does not look that good. Obviously, the show wasn't that good, but I'm not counting how good the quality of the actual show was. But the problem is when you have this character telling Hulk that his trauma basically isn't justified because she gets, like, catcalled and stuff, it's just really weird, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's one of these things where I just think she's genuinely a poorly written character, and it was trying to be satirical and funny, but it just fell flat on its face, and I see a world where this character really could have worked and maybe even been better than the Hulk that's in the MCU, but it just did not work whatsoever. Next up's going to be Ghost. Or no, that's Valkyrie. Sorry, they got both white suits. Ghost is going to be fine. Honestly, like I said earlier in this video, I think that this is a great example of a character where I can have a great time with Valkyrie whenever she's on screen. I love her in Thor Ragnarok. I think she's pretty good in Love and Thunder. But am I ever really like, yeah, Valkyrie, she's just absolutely awesome. Tessa Thompson, I'm always like 50-50 on her acting. I feel like I don't want to be like that because obviously, she is very talented. But I do think that she's one of the weaker actors in the MCU. But I just can't really say like, wow, Valkyrie, super awesome. But yeah, she's going in the fine category. Again, have a great time with her whenever she's on screen, but kind of just in one ear, out the other type of thing. Next up's going to be Mobius, man. Mobius is going to go in good. And one thing I do want to say, I'm going to be moving Sylvie down to good. Nothing against her. I just think that great, I need to say for like the truly great characters in the MCU. Mobius is just really good, man. First of all, just off a like casting premise, I do think that Owen Wilson being in the MCU is an awesome concept. Let's also be realistic there. Let's give a round of applause because that's just really cool. But I love Mobius in the same way I love Sylvie. The way that he plays off of Loki, this buddy cop thing, the fact that I feel like Tom Hiddleston, right? He's like this quick talker. He's always very speedy playing Loki. And Owen Wilson is naturally a very slowed down personality. So I like the way they play off of each other. It feels like Owen Wilson's character, Mobius, is able to sort of slow down and bring Loki a bit down to earth with his acting. And then the same with Tom Hiddleston. He's able to sort of pick Mobius up and bring a bit more energy to his character. So, again, their chemistry is just off the charts in my opinion. He's a really good character. I would love to see him again. Next up's going to be Ghost. I'm going to put Ghost in fine. I think she's really good in not in Taskmaster, may she rest in peace. Taskmaster's actually not on this list, unfortunately, did not make the cut, but Ghost is going to go in fine. I know that she was a villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but obviously she's a hero in the Thunderbolts. I think that she kind of got less screen time in comparison to everybody else, but she's much better than she was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, so I have to give a lot of credit for having some type of character growth as a whole. The fact that Ava is now more of a prominent character, I think is pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what they do with her in Doomsday, even if it's not too much, but yeah, I think she's definitely a fine character. I definitely enjoy her whenever she's on screen. Next is going to be M'Baku. I think he's a good character. I think M'Baku's a solid character. Whenever he's on screen, again, I have a good time with him. I like his loud energy. He kind of is, I don't want to say like the villain at the beginning of Black Panther, but obviously he has always turned his back to the main tribe. They come to him for help, and he's like, hey, I'll help you guys out. Then we move on to Wakanda Forever. He's obviously helping out Shuri. One of these characters that I think it's always a good time when he's on screen. He could be funny. He could also have like more powerful moments. And I think that the reality is he's such a large character that he's almost like a human Hulk. So it's always awesome to see him in action sequences. Next is going to be Okoye. I think Okoye is kind of also going to go in good. One of my favorite parts of her, and I believe this is her unless I'm wrong, is the part in Black Panther where she actually goes against her own husband, played by... what's his face? I'm completely blanking right now. Daniel Kaluuya. She goes against her own husband and she's like, I'll die for Wakanda. I'll kill you right here. That's really sick. I like that she's just sprinkled in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She's obviously in Wakanda Forever. And I just think that she's been developed nicely and we've gotten to see her in different moments. And she's always great whenever she's on screen, especially in Infinity War in that final battle. Just a really awesome character. Next is going to be Cosmo. I love a good dog character. Going to be going in fine because we didn't really get to see too much. I like the little gag, the little plot line with Kraglin about, being a good dog or a bad dog. Pretty interesting. The power set being like telekinetic or whatever. I think it's really unique. Something we haven't really seen in the MCU too much. But yeah, pretty awesome. Next up's going to be Wong. I'm going to put Wong in great. Like, I'm sorry. I know that maybe he hasn't had the craziest character development, but I love a glue guy. It's as simple as that. What's a glue guy, you might be asking? A glue guy kind of on like a sports team, whether it's like a basketball team or a football guy. It's just the guy that just keeps everyone together. Pulls everyone together. That's what Wong's been for the MCU. He's always showing up in different projects. He's always right at Strange's side. He's always defending him no matter what. And he's very funny. Benedict Wong is always giving a really good performance. But sometimes when it's time to throw down, Wong's ready to go. Like, there's no joking matter. He's like, let's do this right now. Who wants to smoke? Like, seriously, that's always what Wong's always about. And I love that about his character. So, again, when he wants to be lighthearted, he can be. But when it comes to fighting, he is not playing around. And I really love that about Wong. Next is going to be Shuri. She's a good character. I think that all the Black Panther, Wakanda Forever characters are, like, good. Like, they're solid, above average, slightly characters. I wish that Shuri, I don't want to say got more to do in Wakanda Forever because the whole movie's basically centered around her, but I can't say that I absolutely loved her in that film, and I think that now that she's Black Panther, she'll have more to do, especially like in Doomsday, as a character that's more at the forefront, but Wakanda Forever is actually a film, again, I have to admit, I have not seen since theaters, so I'm kind of going based off of old knowledge in a way. I'm looking back like 3 years in the past, so that's, again, what this series is meant to do. So, yeah, I think that she's just going to be going good. Next is going to be Elena. I'm going to give an absolute overreaction here. I think she has to go in the best. Every single second that Yelena's on screen and that Florence Pugh is on my TV, I eat it up. I love this character. I just cannot get over how absolutely fun yet interesting she is. Yelena, obviously, again, very tragic character. She's in the Black Widow program her whole life. She was basically created to be like this super spy. She basically like lost her family and then she was trying to kind of bring that family back. But then she ends up losing her sister, Black Widow, of course. At least one thing that's good is that the whole Black Widow program went away. But she's developed, she kind of helps Bob kind of like get over his problems. I think in Thunderbolts, obviously, she's at her best. That's like basically her leading movie. And Florence Pugh as an actor, she's just able to really give a great performance because she's one of the better actors of this decade, realistically, especially actresses. I love her. I love Yelena. I just think she's one of the best. Next, that's going to be Wanda. I'm going to put Wanda in great. I think Wanda's just one of the better characters, man. Sort of in a Wong way, she's like a glue character where she's just always there. I think that in Infinity War, right, she's given some things to do. In Civil War, right, she's a side character. In Ultron, she's a side character. But then she finally gets to shine in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, a movie that I defend, admittedly. I think she's great. She's super scary. She's powerful. Even in Endgame, the final battle. And how could I not mention her own show, WandaVision, where I think she's one of the best parts of that show. I think Wanda's absolutely awesome. I could see an argument for putting up in the best. Maybe I will, actually. Let me think about this. Because now that I think about it, Wanda really... You know what? Wanda is one of the best characters in the MCU. Honestly, like, whenever she shows up sort of in the Florence Pugh way, I gotta keep this in mind. I think she's such a joy. And also, she's written so well because... she's had so much loss in her life, whether that's Vision or her entire family as a kid or Pietro. So you've really seen her growth or her kids. So that's very interesting. Speaking of Pietro, he's going to be going in not good. The thing is, I would put him in fine, but he literally did nothing except die. The only thing that I can say that's positive is that his death made Wanda an even more interesting character. So it's kind of like, okay, let's sacrifice this character to make one of our stars better. Like, I don't hate that decision, but I can't say that he's even fine. I think that would be unfair. You've got Aaron Taylor Johnson, ironically enough, in the role, which I think is pretty funny, but yeah, I just can't really see him being any higher than that. He didn't really do too much. Other his characters are pretty cool, though, and it's awesome also to see kind of like an X-Men character in the MCU. Next up is going to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This is where I think the pitchforks are going to come out. I'm going to put him in good, and I think that he has a lot of potential to move up to great, or even the best, with Spider-Man Brand New Day and whatever he does going forward. My problem is I think that John Watts is just not a good director. Like, he's just genuinely not a good director, and I just don't think that he made him a very interesting, dynamic character like Andrew or Toby. I don't know if his movies were really like the most Spider-Man films of all time. Like, yes, they're very interesting superhero films, but I just wish that they kind of dug a bit deeper. And I like Tom Holland as an actor, right? I think that he plays a good Peter Parker. I don't really like the younger approach with Spider-Man. It's just a personal thing, especially in Civil War and Homecoming. Far From Home, he's a bit more of an adult, and then No Way Home, he's pretty much just like an adult, so that makes more sense. But I have a feeling that Brand New Day, and if he's in Doomsday, that will really bring the character up for me. Next up is going to be Cassie Lang. She is one of the worst characters in the MCU. The only good thing about her is when she's a kid, I guess, right? And she gets like kidnapped in the first Ant-Man movie or whatever. But man, when she's grown up in Ant-Man 3, she's just awful. She's written horribly. I just think it's one of these things where for some reason, they just decided to make her insufferable, and I don't really know why. She's telling her dad, like, oh, just because you saved the world doesn't mean you have to talk about it all the time. He saved the world. Give him some grace. Jesus Christ. Just kind of an insufferable character that I don't even feel like talking about anymore. Next is going to be Alexei, the Red Guardian. I think he's going to be going somewhere in... I'm going to put him in good. I think he's a really good character. David Harbour, obviously, is incredible playing these dad roles, whether that's Hopper from Stranger Things, and I love Stranger Things, or the Red Guardian. I think that I'd like to see him fleshed out a bit more. Maybe just see him in one more project, then I can bump him up to great. But I think he's good in Black Widow, and he's pretty much followed like the same path as Yelena, where he went from Black Widow, then he moved on to Thunderbolts. I think him being obviously the dad of such a great character also offers a bit more of an interesting angle for his character. So I'm excited what they see with him doing going forward, but can't really put him any higher than that. Next up is going to be Johnny Storm, played by Joseph Quinn. I know it's a hot take. He's going to be going in fine, just like Reed Richards. I think that they just should have cast someone else. I'm going to be honest. I know that it's going to come off as like hating or something, but I'm not. I put him in fine. I think that he's pretty enjoyable, but I just think, first of all, he looks too British, and I'm not trying to like be funny. I'm being genuine. Like, Joseph Quinn genuinely just looks like a British human being when he should kind of look like an American jock. I think Chris Evans is a great example of that, and I feel like he's not really cocky enough. Like, yes, they really leaned into like him being smart, which I appreciate that angle. I'm happy that they did that, because I feel like the Chris Evans version, they didn't do that. But I really wish he was just like this American jock that was also smart. They kind of went with like this other angle, and I don't hate the character whatsoever. I have a good time with him, but going to be putting them there. Next is going to be Deadpool. I'd like to make this very clear. Deadpool I am ranking just based off of Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool 1 does not count. Deadpool 2 does not count. I'm going to put Deadpool in good. I'm going to put Deadpool in, actually, fine. I'm going to put Deadpool in fine. This is my problem with Deadpool. His arc in the movie makes pretty much no sense. Like, he's trying to get Vanessa back, but like it's just very weird because like she died and now she's not dead, and I just don't think he's as funny in this movie compared to Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. And at a certain point, the satire gets a bit too over the top. Again, I feel like he's not really written as well as Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. They were just trying to focus on the silly gags and the silly jokes. And I've got another hot take coming up that we're going to be talking about with the Wolverine here, but just don't think he's that good of a character just in Deadpool and Wolverine. Because I really like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, but just don't really like him in Deadpool Wolverine. Next is going to be Druig. Not good. Do I remember much about him? No. Barry Keoghan, very talented actor, but did absolutely nothing for me. Next is going to be Kraglin. Fine. Sean Gunn, brother of James Gunn, of course, the director. I always like when Kraglin's on screen. I like that he's kind of like this anxiety-riddled character that's always nervous, and he's kind of like freaky, and he takes on the Yondu horn thing, but I can't say that he's like absolutely incredible or anything. But yeah, he's pretty decent. Next is going to be Groot. I'm going to put Groot in good. I think Groot's a good character. I don't think Groot has ever really done anything, though, to make me just go, wow, he's great or the best. I think the I am Groot moment at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy is super powerful. But I will admit, I think that I really do not like teen Groot and like baby Groot as much. I think baby Groot in Guardians 2 is pretty good. But in Guardians 3, I'm kind of just like, okay, you're kind of just there. No problem, whatever. But yeah, I really like Groot. I think Groot's pretty good. Next is going to be Wolverine. I'd like to make this so clear. I am only talking about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine. I am not talking about any of the X-Men movies. Not Days of Future Past, where I'd put him in the best. I'm not talking about Logan, where I'd put him in the best. Those do not count. I am just talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to put him in not good. I think they kind of butchered his character a bit in this movie. I'm just going to say my hot take and my bold opinion. I feel like they kind of butchered his character. I think that his backstory kind of makes no sense about how he left the X-Mansion, and then all of a sudden, everyone got killed, and it was his fault. It doesn't make sense when he's explaining it in the movie, and you're like, wait, what? From there, he just doesn't feel the same as he usually does in the other movies. I know he's a variant, okay, but he just feels a bit more lifeless to me. And yes, he's still pretty cool, right? He has his claws and, all that. But this is not the same Wolverine that I've known for the past 20 years. Even though I'm only 23 years old, it's just the point. He's not nearly as good as the other movies. Like, this is such a worse version. On top of that, maybe this is a hot take. I actually don't like the cowl with the white eyes. I think it doesn't work, and I hope that they don't do that with Batman in the future. I know it's kind of like a random thing, but yeah, I don't like him in this. I'm sorry, but it's just my own opinion. Next up is going to be Nebula. A good character. She's kind of a villain. She's kind of a hero. At the end of the day, she's kind of a hero, though. I'm going to put her in good. I think she's very layered, obviously, tortured by Thanos most of her life. She has this sort of urge to always beat Gamora because she believes Gamora is really like the better daughter, but she wants to be the better daughter. I think she kind of fits in well with the Guardians. I like her moment with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man in the beginning of Endgame, right? Is that Endgame or Infinity War? Endgame, I'm just forgetting here, but really like that little moment where she has a sense of humanity to her, and I like her overall. Next is going to be Black Widow. One of the more underrated heroes in the MCU. I think she's great. Scarlett Johansson obviously giving just such a great performance as the character. Very witty. I think she's at her best in Winter Soldier. I love Winter Soldier, man. But honestly, as a character, I do think she's her best there, even outside of her own movie. Again, Scarlett Johansson's awesome. I love her gadgets. I like that she's very slick with her moves. Really cool character. Next up is going to be Hawkeye. Clint Barton has always just been a really good character to me. I can't say that he's great. And I know that people dog on Hawkeye because he's like weak. I think the arrows are really cool, okay? All the trick arrows. I think he was pretty good in his own show, especially as like a mentor to Kate Bishop. And you got to see like his family life and like Endgame and stuff like that. Obviously the sacrifice in his relationship with ScarJo. And I think he's going to be going in good though, just because I don't think he's as good as Black Widow. He doesn't have as much of a background as Black Widow. Like we learn a lot more about her, but I think Hawkeye's still good. Gamora, going in great. Gamora's just such a great character. Same level as Nebula, just a bit more fleshed out because she's more of a star in the Guardians movies. Her relationship with Star-Lord, her sort of tragic, bittersweet ending at the end of Guardians 3 where it's like not actually Gamora, it's like a different version of Gamora, and the relationship, the fact that it never actually ends up working out. So sad, man. And she's just ruthless. She's strong, too. She's almost like a better version of She-Hulk, just another green, strong woman. But she's just really awesome, man. Next up's going to be Thor. I do have to go a bit faster because, Jesus Christ, we're going to be here all night. Thor is going to be going in great. I think Thor is a great character, but he definitely has his lows, okay? I think that in Thor Love and Thunder, he's probably his worst. Thor the Dark World wasn't doing too much for me. I really like Thor in the first Thor movie. If you guys haven't watched it, please go rewatch it. He's so good in that movie, honestly. I think it's super underrated. And then obviously he works best when he's with the team and in something like Infinity War. Another character, sort of like, who was I thinking of before? Wanda, where he just lost a lot of people. His mother, Frigga, obviously lost her. His dad, Odin. His brother, Loki. His entire people with Asgard, completely gone. He's a tragic character, and I think they wrote him really well to try to find a new family and find a reason to keep going. Next, that's going to be Jane. Jane's going to be going good. I think Jane's always been a pretty solid little character to kind of be associated with Thor. You've got Natalie Portman, one of the greatest actors of this generation, essentially, to play Jane. I think that she's charming. I think she's better. I know this is going to sound kind of like weird, but she's almost better in like Thor the Dark World than she is like later on in the MCU, but I still do really like her as a character. I think that she kind of brings Thor down to earth, again, kind of like how he's an alien, but he really needs to be like grounded a bit. I really appreciate that arc with her. Next is going to be Falcon / Winter Soldier, no, not Winter Soldier, Falcon / Captain America / Sam. He's going to be going in good. This is my problem. I love Sam. I really love Sam. He's so awesome in Winter Soldier. He's like the ride or die for Cap. And then in the Age of Ultron, right? Oh, no. Then in Civil War, he's there. He's ready to go. He's ready to throw down. He's at Cap's side. I feel like in a weird way, and I've started to realize this, his character almost got worse after he became Captain America. And I want to make something clear. I think Anthony Mackie's awesome. And I actually really think that he deserves to be Captain America. The problem is they haven't really given him enough to do in the MCU. Through 2 entire projects dedicated to him, Falcon and Winter Soldier and his own Captain America movie, because they were both kind of poorly written. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is better, but especially Brave New World, he got the short end of the stick, and I feel really bad. I want to make something clear. I think that Falcon would go in great, and I think that Captain America Falcon would go in good or fine. But I think that in Doomsday, he has a chance to really move up here. I feel like the Russos can do him right. They know how to make a leading man great. That's why, obviously, Iron Man and Cap have been so great for so many years. So I really love this character. I just need to see him in Doomsday, and I think I could really bump him up. Because I love Sam, and I think he deserves to be Captain America. But honestly, Marvel and their writers are the ones that have fumbled this character. Because he's very witty, he's very funny. I love Anthony Mackie's charm and charisma and swag. I think he's great. Next up is going to be Hulk. This is going to be a hot take. Not good. I just don't think Hulk's a good character. This is more so personal opinion. I've never really been a Hulk character. And I know that there's so many, or a Hulk fan. I know there's so many characters in the MCU and in superhero lore that are like this, but I have never personally been a fan of the guy that's just strong and punches people. Iron Man has rockets, right? He has all this technology. Captain America has the shield. Black Widow has tasers. Doctor Strange has magic powers. I've just never been a fan of the guy that's strong and punches people. Even Wolverine, at least he has like the claws, but I've just never been a fan of like that. From there, I understand that he's obviously a very tortured, tormented character, but I think Mark Ruffalo is a pretty good Bruce Banner. But obviously the later we go on, the more butchered his character has gotten. And just personally, I'm going to put him in not good. If he is in Brand New Day, maybe I could bump him up to fine or good, but we'll see what goes on there. Next is going to be Kate Bishop. She's going to go in good. I think she's a really good character. I wish we got to see more of her. She's only in 1 season. Obviously, you've got what's-her-face? Haley Steinfeld in here, kind of right before she really hit like her stardom, I would say. Obviously, she's been around for a long time, but it's just the point. And I think that what I like about her is that she brings this youthful energy to the MCU that I'd argue that it kind of needed after Endgame, and just trying to introduce sort of like this young Avengers angle to this universe, even though it didn't really pan out with Miss Marvel as well, as we could see up here. I don't think she's as good as Miss Marvel, but I really do like Kate Bishop, and if we just got her in like one more project, kind of like Miss Marvel, maybe I could put her up to great, but don't really see a reason to do that. Next is going to be Ajak. I'm going to put her in not good. She's not offensive to go in the worst, but she's also not even worthy of being in fine. Salma Hayek, all-timer, but didn't really do anything for me. America Chavez, fine character. I think that she kind of is in a Kate Bishop way. Like, as you can see, we got all three young Avenger ladies here. In a Kate Bishop way, it's like, I just need one more project out of you so that I could really judge you. But the one project that you were in, I thought you were pretty enjoyable. I think that she's okay in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I have her on my shirt here pretty much. Yeah, she is on the shirt. I had to make sure she was actually on the shirt. But I don't know if I really found her to be super compelling. Her star power with the multiverse was cool, but it wasn't even really used that much. We didn't really see that much universe hopping, which kind of brings it down for me. So overall, it's kind of just whatever. Next up's going to be Sue Storm. Going to be going in good. I thought she was a really good character. I don't know if she was great, but at the same time, I think she was kind of the core of this Fantastic Four family, and probably my favorite character. Vanessa Kirby is such great casting as the character. I loved her motherly instincts and the fact that she wants to protect Franklin. The way that she kind of plays off of Galactus, where she's like, you are not taking my kid. Just going absolute beast mode at the end of the movie. I just think it was just so awesome. Next is going to be Athena, I believe is her name. Angelina Jolie in the MCU. Just going in not good. Again, these are characters that are just in one ear, out the other. I don't care for these characters. Next up's going to be Peggy. Going to be going in good. A character that I think has always been there for Steve, right? She's solid. She has her charming moments. I think she's best in First Avenger. But I can't act like she's really over the top amazing. Her Captain Carter cameo I actually do like. I feel like a lot of people don't like it. And I can understand not liking Captain Carter, but just in Multiverse of Madness. We've been talking about Multiverse of Madness a lot this video. I think she's really good. And I like her at Steve's side, kind of as this tough, I don't want to say tomboy, but she's just this, tough character. But, yeah, I think she's a good character. Next is going to be Gilgamesh, just going to be going in not good as well. I don't remember anything about this guy. Next is going to be Korg, not good. I am just not a Korg fan. I think that Taika Waititi's voice, admittedly, is a bit annoying, and Korg would have been in fine in Ragnarok. I think he's a fine character. I think he's pretty interesting. But honestly, Love and Thunder, don't really like him that much. Just going to bring him down more, and I can only see him going further down if we see him anymore. Next is going to be The Thing, Ben Grimm. Fine. I feel like this character was the least fleshed out of the entire Fantastic Four. They kind of hinted this little love story with him, with this other character, but they never really bring it up or tie it up with a nice bow. It's kind of just left open-ended. We don't really see anything with his struggles of how he's the only character in the Fantastic Four that has been deformed and looks different. So that's really a shame. And it's just one of these things where I need to see more out of him. We saw him in the trailer for Doomsday. Hopefully, maybe I can raise him from there. But I didn't think that he really did that much, or even used his powers in a cool way, or was that charming. So yeah, I'm just gonna be moving on from there. Next is gonna be Ant-Man. This is gonna be probably a hot take. He's gonna be going in fine. I'm gonna put him in good. I think he deserves to go in good. Again, one of these characters where I think his projects just kind of weigh him down, but the character is better than the projects. When I look at the Ant-Man movies, I think the only one that's truly good is probably the first Ant-Man movie, and it's decently good. But then the second one is fine to below average, and the third one might be the worst movie in the entire MCU. Really like him though in Civil War, and then the other movies where he's really able to shine like Endgame, but I just don't think that Scott Lang is some incredible MCU character, but at the same time, he definitely deserves to be in good because he always shines in the projects that he's put in, even if they're not really the best projects. And I just can't believe Ant-Man got a trilogy. Isn't that just crazy? Really shows you the power of the MCU. Next is going to be Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man No Way Home. I think I'm going to put him in great. I know that putting someone like Andrew Garfield in comparison to someone like Black Widow that has been a core character of the MCU is so unfair, and Thor and Gamora, but just talking about his moments, I think he's absolutely great. It's one of these things where, from an acting perspective and a charisma and charming perspective, he literally just went nuclear for 1 hour of screen time or run time, whatever you want to say, and I think he deserves to go in great. From there, Vision, I think, is a pretty good character. I think he always has something very interesting to say. Can't say he's always my favorite character, but Vision is definitely above fine. I mean, he always has these sort of philosophical questions that he's bringing up. I like the conversation that he has with Ultron. Really enjoy his bouncing back and forth between, well, bouncing his ideas off of Wanda and the way that their relationship flourishes. And in WandaVision, I could almost argue he's at his best, even though he's not even really alive, which I find very interesting and intriguing. So, going to be going there. Next up's going to be the Wasp. The Wasp is going to be going in fine. I don't think she's an offensive character by any means, but I don't think she ever moves the needle for me. I think that it's just kind of one of these things where whenever she's there, I think that they play off of each other, Ant-Man and the Wasp nicely, but never has done anything significant realistically, and I can't say that she's all that cool, but I don't think she's bad, like not good or the worst. Mantis is going to be going in good. I really enjoy Mantis. I think that she's really great in Guardians 3. Guardians 2, she's okay. She could be a bit annoying at times. And one thing I will say, something that really does boost up Mantis is going to be her in the holiday special, because she gets just like a solid hour to we just get to spend time with her, which is really nice, like good quality time, which can be pretty rare in the MCU, especially because there's so many characters they got to get to. So I think that was really awesome. I think her powers are pretty unique too, which also kind of brings this other perspective to her and just gives her like this unique edge. Next up's going to be Doctor Strange, going to be going in great. I can't say that he's one of the best characters, but I think he's definitely going to be going in great. I don't really love Doctor Strange in the first Doctor Strange movie. Maybe that's a hot take. But I think that in Infinity War and Endgame, but especially Infinity War, he's just ridiculous. And then even Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, I love him in that. I pray to God that he's in Doomsday because I just think he's so awesome. Benedict Cumberbatch is the perfect casting. And in No Way Home, I think that's something that definitely brings him down from the best, because why would he cast the spell? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But either way, going to be going in great. Next is going to be Black Panther, Chadwick's Black Panther. I'm sorry, he's going to go in best. Obviously, rest in peace, Chadwick. One thing I do want to say, and I'm just kind of, airing out my thoughts. I'm not putting him in best just because he passed away or just because of, like, the legacy. I just genuinely do believe, just like a lot of other people, that he's one of the better superheroes in the MCU. The limited time that he had in Civil War, Black Panther, and then also Infinity War and Endgame, of course, I think that 4-movie run that he had was all he needed to solidify himself as one of the best characters. I mean, Yelena was only in like 2 or 3 projects, so I think it's safe to say Black Panther is up there. I really love how he's able to play off of Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, his charisma, and his alignment with Ryan Coogler, I think, is so clear. Like, they were just very good business, or you could say work partners, where Ryan Coogler's vision was so easily painted through Chadwick's acting, and I think that's really incredible. No one could have played this character better, man, and obviously the role is probably going to be passed on one day, but Chadwick's just one of the best, man. Next is going to be Kumail playing, I forgot what this guy's name is, Kingo, I believe. Another just not good. That's kind of just like my standard baseline foundation for these Eternals. They're just not really good characters, I'm sorry. Rhodey, good character. I don't want to say that he's great. He's always at Iron Man's side. I think that Terrence Howard playing him was also a pretty good character. One of my hot takes, and I rewatched Iron Man 2 like somewhat recently, or Iron Man 1 recently. I actually almost like Terrence Howard's performance as Rhodey better than Don Cheadle's, even though I really like Don Cheadle, but kind of just food for thought, whatever. But I think Rhodey's a good character. I like that he's always at Iron Man's side, no matter what. He's always, going by, I don't want to say his orders, but he's, making sure that he's helping his best friend. In Civil War, that leads to him having almost dire consequences, but I think he's a good character. He's funny, the way that he plays off of Tony, and he's never really given like a ton to do. But whenever he does show up, it always puts a smile on my face. But Secret Invasion is one of those things that kind of hurt his character as well. Next up is going to be Daredevil. Do want to make one thing clear. I am going to be basing this off of Daredevil in just She-Hulk, because I actually have not seen the original Daredevil show fully. I've only watched the first season, and I haven't seen Daredevil Born Again. So he's going to be going in fine, but that's only because I am just basing this off of his cameo in She-Hulk. I'm sorry, but I have not seen Daredevil Born Again. I'll get to it at some point, but there's so many things to watch, so I'll get around at some point. What else is there to say besides the best? Mr. Steve Rogers, the Boy Scout of the MCU, one of the most heroic characters in the MCU. You want to talk about superhero? That's Steve Rogers. He's a Boy Scout. He's a good guy. He just doesn't have the physical power. But then he's given the physical power. What is he able to do with that? Obviously save the world multiple times. One of the all-time GOATs, Chris Evans, could not be cast better. No one will ever replace him as Captain America. That's not a diss on Sam Wilson, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, his impact is one of the top 3. Just an all-timer. Next, that's going to be Bucky Barnes. Maybe this is a hot take. I'm going to put him in great. Bucky, again, kind of like one of these side characters where he's always been at Cap's side. I love their dynamic with each other, and he's such a layered character that has progressed so incredibly throughout the MCU. He went from Cap's friend, Bucky, obviously, the soldier, to the Winter Soldier, to the post-Winter Soldier era, where he was kind of like, with Sam hanging out, to then basically becoming like a congressman slash badass vigilante in the Thunderbolts. I don't even know what he's going to be doing in Doomsday, but I just love his character. He's so fleshed out. We've seen so much of him, and he's one of the coolest looking characters ever, in my opinion, like the Winter Soldier look. Love him in Winter Soldier, and I love him in everything else. Makari, not good. I'm sorry, I know it seems like I'm not putting thought into this, but these Eternal characters are just not good. They kind of suck to me. I'm just going to be real. Star-Lord, maybe a hot take. He's going to be going in the best. I understand that he has his issues, but I think that Chris Pratt is just cast so perfectly. He's so charming at all times, and he does have his flawed moments, like when he hits Thanos, and obviously kind of is the reason that they lose in Infinity War. But I do think that he's always been the glue of the Guardians of the Galaxy, even though like Rocket is kind of like the main character of sometimes, but I think he's the captain, right? He's the leader, and I just think he's so funny, but also he could be emotional. He has so many fun moments, all the musical stuff, the emotional connection with his mom and his dad that we also find out about. Like, we learn so much about him. We've spent so much time with Star-Lord. I can't help but love him. Next up is going to be Werewolf by Night. I don't know, the werewolf, Jack Russell, I believe is his name. Fine. Again, this is a pretty good character in a very forgettable project, and I'm going to be honest, it's not really his fault, but I kind of just have to put him in. Fine. Next looks going to be John Walker. Good character. Very good character. I think that he might have been like fine in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but he was more of a villain. But I think in Thunderbolts, he was really good. His character was definitely brought up a bit. We get to learn a bit more about his background with like his wife and his kid, and he was kind of just like a neglectful father, essentially. But honestly, I think he's good. He's a lot of fun. He's kind of like this hard ass, but I like the fact that he kind of has like the sarcastic tone to him. He's always complaining. Like, I think it's funny that such a tough soldier is always complaining. Like, that's just kind of like a funny little thing to me that I thought was pretty unique from a writing perspective. Next up is going to be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, just in No Way Home. I am only talking about him in No Way Home. Going to be going in good. I wish that he was utilized a bit better. I think that while Andrew Garfield was giving like his 10 out of 10, it feels like Tobey Maguire was giving like 6 out of 10, realistically, like energy-wise. I think it's awesome that he's in the movie. I think he's really good in that hour he's in, but I can't put him any higher. And again, this is not talking about the original 3 Spider-Man films. Next up is going to be Shang-Chi. He's going to be going in great. I think Shang-Chi is just an absolutely great character. Such a fun time with him. We've only seen him in one movie. I cannot wait to see him in Doomsday, but in that one film, he was able to make such an impact on me. His powers are so cool, and even before he gets the rings, he's such a great character, like Sean. We get to learn about his background. The bus fight, we learn that he's this very skilled martial artist. The fact that he has this relationship with his father, and, they kind of like butt heads over what he went through with his childhood. I think Simu Lee is just perfectly cast. I cannot wait to see him. It's been 5 years since we've seen Shang-Chi. So yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of potential that's going to be kind of, I guess you could say, capitalized on in Doomsday. Next is going to be Ironheart. I have not seen the Ironheart show, but I'm just going to put her in not good. I did not really like Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever. I think it was kind of like this shoehorned in character where it's like, oh, we need to make a show, so let's just add her in Wakanda Forever. She'll fit in here, but I don't really think she's a good character. Honestly, I'm getting a bit tired here. I need to kind of burn through this list a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. Next up is going to be Drax. Going to be going in good. I think Drax is another good character. Even though, the Guardians, there's like 5 or 6 characters in there, and it's tougher with, putting screen time to everybody, giving them their ample time. But I think James Gunn did such a good time to where we learn enough about Drax to where we really do care about him, but still not like so much to where he's like one of the best characters in the MCU. But Drax, we learn about his family, obviously his daughter, his vengeance for Thanos, how he wants to kill him, and even like Ronin. And he's always funny. Dave Bautista gives just such an incredible performance. He's powerful. I like the knives that he uses, and I think that he also has like this emotional kind of core to him, especially in Guardians 3, like when he sees the kids and he's like playing around with them and stuff, being like silly. I think that's really great. Next is going to be Maria Hill. One of these glue characters, kind of like Wong, but I think she's just a bit worse only because she's never really given as much to do with somebody like Wong. But I really do like her, especially earlier in the MCU, like right at Nick Fury's side. She's like a no games, like she is not playing around whenever she's on screen type of character, and I love that with her. Yondu is a really good. Yondu's a great character. Let me just say that. In the 2 movies this guy is in, I think his character development, he just gets me, man. Michael Rooker's performance is just awesome. His death, his sacrifice, he's Mary Poppins. I love him. I love him to death. His powers are so awesome. The little arrow that goes around, overpowered, sure, you could say, but I think it just makes him more cool because he's more powerful, and I just think he's great. Next is going to be Captain Marvel. Going to put her in fine. I don't think she deserves to go in, like, not good, but I think Brie Larson is pretty decent in the role. Like as when it comes to just casting, she's a great actress, of course, but this is just truly, like, a very dead type of character where whenever she's on screen, I feel like it's very, like, okay, we're just going through the motions, I'm not very, like, excited, I'm not really laughing. I don't think that her backstory is all that interesting with Carol Danvers and all that, so she's fine. I don't hate her or anything, but, she's okay. Next is going to be Agatha. The reason I put her on this list is because, yes, she's the villain in WandaVision, but also in Agatha All Along, she's the main character, so I guess she's like kind of the hero or whatever. I didn't even finish Agatha All Along, but I'm just gonna put her in fine. I think she's an okay character. Nick Fury. Nick Fury's tough, man, because Nick Fury I want to put so badly in the best or great, but Secret Invasion completely destroyed his character. I'm gonna put him in good. Like, I'm talking about that show, like, it's one of these shows where I almost like have made it not canon in my head. Like, Secret Invasion in my head, like, you could say whatever you want, but that show is just not canon to me. Like, I pretend it doesn't exist, and everyone could do whatever they want, but seriously, that's how bad that show is to me. Gonna be putting it in good. I want to put him higher up, but man, I literally cannot because of how bad Secret Invasion was. Tony Stark. What do you guys want me to say? He's one of the best characters. I mean, he was in the cave, right? He realized what he was doing with Stark Industries was wrong. He eventually evolved to kind of become his own man. He's always learning with his suit. Tony Stark is so interesting on his own. Iron Man is so interesting on his own. I could put both Iron Man and Tony Stark in the best category. That's how good of a character he is. He's just awesome. Pepper Potts is really good. I think Pepper Potts is a very underrated character in the MCU, let me say that. Especially like in Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3. What am I even talking about here? I think Gwyneth Paltrow, like, she's such a talented actress to where it feels like she's really trying in these movies, and I could really appreciate that. And you've got a great actress playing off a great actor. I just love that. It seems they really do care about each other, and I like the way that it's always like this will they, won't they kind of thing with them, and Tony really does care about her, but she's kind of like, listen, you're just too ridiculous, so I do appreciate that. Next is going to be Happy Hogan. I think he's fine, I guess. I don't know. I've never really been a happy guy. Like, I like Jon Favreau. He's pretty cool, but he's an okay character. Not really much to say outside of that. Rocket Raccoon's one of the best characters in the MCU, man. Let me tell you. James Gunn wrote a damn raccoon to be one of the best characters in the MCU. It's literally a raccoon that talks. Ridiculous. Rocket, every second of screen time, he just sucks you right in, and he makes you either laugh or want to cry, or maybe a little bit of both. He's so fun. He always has a gun that's the size of his entire body. I like that. That's kind of like his powers, where he's just like this weapons technician. Super cool character. And also, Bradley Cooper is giving a very underrated performance because voice acting, I feel like people don't really give a lot of credit for that, but he's great. Next up, we've got Daniel Ramirez as Falcon as our last character. Fine. He's okay. He's a perfectly fine character. I liked him enough in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He got raised up to be in a movie, Brave New World, and he was fine at best in that movie too. So he's fine there, he's fine here. And this is going to be my final list. One thing I do want to say is I hope you guys like and subscribe, because I'm going to be honest, it would really mean the world to me because I've been sitting here for a very long time. But let me know what you guys think about all these characters down below. What is my worst take on here? You guys can cook me. Feel free to absolutely destroy me down below in the comments. But let me know what also some of your favorite characters are. I just want to hear whatever. I'm going crazy. I've been recording for probably over an hour. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.